Well, good morning and happy Wednesday to you, youth. I guess it is Thursday now. I am sitting here at my desk, and I apologize for the length of time since my last post. It's just been, I don't even know how to describe everything that's been going on, and I'm sure a lot of you are in the same place where it's just 2020 is just its own unique thing, and it has these weird ebbs and flows. And don't get me wrong, I know how incredibly blessed Jess and I are for the positions that we have, for the kids that we have, and the flexibility that we have in our lives. But it can still be tough sometimes, right? So I haven't posted in a while. I've filmed a few lessons, but I haven't been happy with them. So I haven't posted them. And it's just one of those things of, I know it's a funk that I think I am going through in the midst of all of this, where I am ready to be back and getting back to life and hanging out with you and all of the things that I enjoy with life. And we're just not there yet. So I decided with this, I would kind of reinvent things a little bit. And so we're going to do a new little style of these lessons. And how I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to need your help. So what we're going to do, I'm going to try to shorten them a little bit, and they're going to be, maybe a little more conversational. But here's where I need your help. My goal with these is to be answering some of your questions, whatever they might be. So to kick things off, I recruited Thomas for me, but he is actually going to kick things off. But now we're going to start this little question and answer series with him, and I will do my best to answer. I might not always have the answer, and I might not have a good answer either. But the one thing that I promise you is that I will be honest in my answer. So anyway, that's what's going on. Thomas, what do you want to know?
Hey Cole, I'm here at Chick-fil-A after hours, and my question to you is, where in your everyday life do you see God? Thanks.
Oh man, so good. Thank you, Thomas. And also thank you for being a good person and wearing a mask when you're out. Such a good question, and I promised you in the opening bit that I would be honest. So the way that Thomas said it is, where in your everyday life do you see God? Which is kind of tough, because if I'm honest with myself, I don't know that I see God every day. We talk about this some on mission trips, but I of looking and being intentional. And I don't, even knowing that, I still don't always feel like maybe that's an everyday occurrence. So I'm coming to you from my office, and I'll let you know when I do when I do come in the office, which I try to spend as little time here as possible. I always start off my day with 10 minutes of meditation, and then I read and journal a little bit. Oh, I can turn it. You can see my messy desk too. I'm doing Abiding Presence by Andrew Murray, which is a good little read. It is what it is. It's short. I can get through it and kind of write my thoughts about it. So I start my day with that 10 minutes, or 10 of meditation, or so 15-ish minutes every day. And I would say that even in the midst of that, I don't always feel like I have seen God. If you've been with us on a mission trip, you've heard me read you the scripture out of Acts, where Paul is talking to a very religious group of people and talking to them about the God that he serves. It's beautiful in the message, so I'm actually going to share it with you that way. He says, "The God who made this world and everything in it, this master of sky and land, does not live in custom-made shrines or need the human race to run errands for him, as if he couldn't take care of himself. He made the creatures. The creatures did not make him. Starting from scratch, he made the entire race, human race, and made the earth hospitable, with plenty of time and space for living, so that we could seek after God and not just grope around in the dark, but actually find him. He doesn't play hide and seek with us. He's not remote. He is near. We live and move in him. We cannot get away from him. One of your poets said it well, we are the God created. And this is one of, if you've been around, you know that is one of my favorite passages of Scripture, and I believe it. I believe every word that Paul said. But there are still times in life, there are days, and sometimes more than one of them strung together, where I don't feel like he is near and feel like he is more remote. And even in the midst of this and devos and all of this stuff and doing my meditation and quieting myself, I always feel better and I always feel a peace. But I don't know that I would say that I always see God in that. So for my next thing, we're gonna go on a little walk. And as I'm thinking about where I see God and what that means, sorry, I've got bikes in the way. I know not everyone has a door on their office that goes outside, and I did not get my keys, so I am now locked out. I know not everyone has in their office a door that goes outside or an opportunity to get up and walk away like this. It's a little warm today, but it is a little after 1. It's in the 90s. It's not too bad. But I will say that one of my absolute favorite places to find God is actually right kind of out here. And as you'll see, as we're walking, I mean, Mannion Park, you guys have all been here. There are lots of these big trees out here. And usually, especially during the day when it's hot like this, the park is fairly deserted. And if I get time, or if I make time, typically, I'll bring something with me. I'll bring a book sometimes. Oftentimes, I don't. But I simply come out here and be still. And in that stillness, something typically happens that is very different from the head knowledge of reading, from the intentional, like, liturgical prayer type thing. Typically when I'm out here and can actually quiet myself, I can begin to feel the presence of God. And it reminds me, Jesus says it this way, in Luke chapter 11, when he's teaching his disciples to pray. We get Luke's version of the Lord's Prayer, and then we get another couple of sentences, and then he says it this way. He says, here's what I'm saying, though. Ask and you will get. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Now, that's a very loaded passage of Scripture that I think has been misused by a lot of people, to say that, that God has a desire to give you everything that you want as long as you ask. And I don't think that's what he's talking about. But he does give this very clear that when we seek, we will find. When we seek the presence of God, we will find God. So the important is not necessarily how or where, but the important aspect of it is being intentional and actually seeking. Oh, there's a couple of squirrels over here on my tree. Hey, can I use this for a minute? Just the bottom part. Is that cool? Okay, I'm just gonna be right down here. Don't worry. But the seek and we'll find, this is one of my favorite little seats. It's terribly uncomfortable, but it just feels like a seat to me. But the seek and you will find, I believe, is talking about us finding the presence of God. And this is actually a line that Jesus lifted from the book of Deuteronomy, where Moses is speaking to the people, and he's talking to them about remembering God. And it's this very long part in Deuteronomy chapter 4 where he's talking about the importance of remembering, of teaching your children things, and of, as you are growing, to seek the wisdom of the elders and those who have been there before. But God says it this way through Moses. He says, but even there, If you seek God, your God, you will be able to find him if you're serious, looking for him with your whole heart and soul. When trouble comes and all these awful things happen to you, in future days you will come back to God, to your God, and listen obediently to what he has to say. For your God is above all a compassionate God. He will not abandon you. He will not bring you to ruin. He will not forget the covenant he swore with your ancestors and what he swore to them. I think for me, where I see God in my everyday life is when I take the time to actually seek him. And I will be the first to admit that that is not always the case. That there are days when I wake up late and feel behind and feel like I'm just trying to get caught up and go through the motions. There are days when I don't feel like seeking. There are days when I kind of want to just be alone. But the reason I shared the Deuteronomy scripture is what I have found is no matter how many of those days I have, no matter how long it has been, whether it's been an hour, a day, or a month, when I earnestly begin to seek, when I look for God and what God is doing in the world around me, I usually find. So I pray you're doing well with this. I know I've got to see some of you, but not all of you. We miss you. We are getting... Well, I'm back with another seamless transition, and I'm such a great video editor that I'm sure that I'll be able to make it look like nothing happened. But sorry about that. I was recording, and the battery on the camera I was using died, and I realized that I not only walked off without my keys and locked myself out of the church, but I also walked off without my phone, so I couldn't finish recording it right there. And then as I was walking back in, Huckabees were here, and I got talking to Brian for a little bit and kind of got distracted on the time. And now I'm officially late to pick up Liam and Emma. So you get this hodgepodge mess of a little bit of a lesson while I ride to Kirk. But what I was saying is in that it's not an everyday, but it is in every time I seek. And that is the important part. Are you willing to seek God? Are you willing to seek him on a daily basis? And right now it looks different because we don't have youth. We don't have stuff going on. We don't have church. I mean, we've got these. And yes, you can read. Yes, you can do devos. You can do all of those things. But are you really seeking? What are you trying to get from him? Moses promises us that God will never abandon us, that he is always there when we seek. And Jesus reiterates that when he says, knock and the door will be open. Seek and ye shall find, ask and ye shall receive. Sorry, I bumped the button on the camera again and realized that I was talking and not recording. I'm sure that looks great to all the people passing me on Harvard. Are we willing to seek? This is what God asks, and he promises that when we do, we will find. That the door will be open. When we ask for his presence, we shall receive it. So I pray in this time for you, whatever it looks like, wherever you are, whether it's relaxing or stressful, whether it's frantic, or enjoying the slowed down pace of things. This is time to seek God. I promise. Jesus promises. Moses promises. But when we seek him, we will find him. Yes, even every day, Thomas. Love you guys. Be well. Hope to see you soon.